There's a lot of you who are missing the money and corporate stuff. There's a new channel, the link's below, called The Corporate Game, where all of that stuff will be. Because the complaints, oh, this is supposed to be a financial channel. The name of the channel is The Economy is Going to Hell. We're going to be talking about the economy on this channel. Get used to it. So with that, let's get into today's video. And I feel that this topic is the reason that we have so many issues. Like my last video, one of the last videos talking about the most dangerous animal on the planet. I understand and acknowledge that we have the most dangerous animal on the planet because of the death of the American family. We still have people, we still have families, mom, dad, and children's, but it is far reduced from it used to be. In the 1960s, if a little kid went to school and the teacher asked him about his mom and dad, there was like a 90-some% chance that the kid would answer, my mom's name is this, my dad's name is this. Now today, I haven't done the research, so I'm just guesstimating. But I would say maybe 25% of the kids in the school come from a two-parent family household, 25%. Because one of the things we're seeing with the death of the American family is, I'm gonna call it spooky politics. And what I mean by that is we have groups that are very determined to push their agenda. The LGBT, the trans movement. Now, consider me crazy, but I think the homosexual and the trans community is a very small percentage of our population. I don't think it's 20%. I think it's like maybe 5 or 7%. But this really small group of people want a big agenda. And this is one of the reasons you're seeing so much social change, because right now there's a big movement going on with kids who had transitioned, kids who claim to be, I'm a little boy, but I should be a little girl. I'm a little girl, but I should be a little boy. And they started to transition into those gender roles. And right now there's a huge method for kids who are detransitioning. They're going back to what they started off with. And I think with the politics in the American culture, that this is one of the reasons, because if I was married to a woman, we had a young son, and one day my son came to me and said, Dad, I want to wear a dress, I would be one of the anticlimactic people who's, no, you're not wearing a dress. Let's go ahead and have this conversation. How are you feeling? What's going on with you? And I would tell him the moment that he wants to start transitioning, he would be living on his own. He would not live in my house. He would not, he's just not going to do that. And if my wife is open to the ideal, I would have a strong conversation with her, because what is happening with a lot of these kids, this one girl wants to sue her doctor, which I don't think is going to work, because she went in and she requested that the doctor cut her breast off. So it's not like the doctor just kidnapped her in the middle of the night and then performed surgery on her. But she's just very angry because she's lost her breast. And for the people who are going through the gender reorientation surgery, once you lose certain things, there's no getting this stuff back. And this is one of the things, and this is just another one of the things that's happening with the death of the American family, because for a long time, and this is one of the original principles of this channel, I created this channel for men, and I got a lot of heat for that. I got a ton of heat for that from the women, because it's like, hey, we got rights too, we want to do. And I created this channel with things that happened in my personal life that I knew to be very harmful and dangerous to men. And it just got completely out of hand, And this is one of the reasons that the death of the American family is such a big issue. because you have so many things that are falling into it. Because just to have this conversation, I fully expect this video to get a lot of hate. I fully expect this video to get a lot of what I call side comments. This is what's really funny. This is the United States of America, where everyone can have an opinion, freedom of speech. But I would have people in the comment sections like, he should stick to this, he shouldn't talk about this. But you as an American have the right to voice your opinion. But for some reason, I don't. It's crazy. But what we're seeing, and we're going to have a lot of videos talking about the death of the American family, because this is something that I have been seeing and I've been noticing. More and more really attractive women are taking on masculine jobs, such as trucking, police work, UPS drivers. I have not seen a lot of women on construction sites, but I have seen a lot of women occupy police work, truck driving, big thing. A lot of women are getting into over-the-road trucking, a lot of women. And this is something I've seen with the TikToks talking about inflation and all this other stuff. A lot of really attractive women are doing DoorDash. I'm not talking like, oh, she cute. I'm talking, really? And this is just showing what's going on with the American culture, because let's go back to 1960. You would not have an attractive woman doing a masculine job. Just wouldn't. What happened is she would meet someone, she would get married and start producing kids. That's what would happen. And we've gotten so far away from that. And there are people who are cheering for that, like women should have the right. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't have the right to do these jobs, but because women are getting in these masculine roles, it's creating a very different topic in American culture. Essentially, what will happen, and I'll tell you the story. I have a friend who's a female who's very much into working out, very much into working out. And she met this guy who was a police officer, and they started dating, and they went to the gym, and they started working out. And this is where things got really tricky. My friend is extremely strong. I'm talking 400-pound squats for a woman, 500-pound deadlifts, can bench 250. Blonde, blue-eyed girl. When she's in regular clothes, she looks just like a girl, but when she's in a workout where you can see the power, right? So they're working out, and she out squats the guy. And this is where it got really messed up. Her bench press was bigger than his. And the guy actually took a moment, pulled her to the side and said, hey, could you tone it down a little bit? You're embarrassing me and my friends. And also works in IT, so she makes a lot of money. This woman has pretty much displaced herself out of the dating cycle. She is stronger than the average man that she would come across. And she makes way more money than the average man that she would meet. I'm talking like, I think she does 250. So with women like this, and there are more and more women like this who are working out, who are physically strong, who are financially strong. And it has created such, I don't even know the words to use for this. It's created such an environment. It's created a very hostile environment for men who have not achieved. And this is another part of the death of the American family. Right now, we have a large contingency of men who do not want to be a husband, who do not want to be a father, who do not want to be part of the typical American family. Now, once again, if you don't want to get married, you don't want to have kids, that's your personal right. But this large contingency of men is now starting to include teenagers who are listening to the masculine channels that are talking about you shouldn't get married, you shouldn't have a girlfriend, you shouldn't have kids. And God forbid, do not date a woman who already has children. That is like dating a woman with kids is like the ultimate curse for a man. To date a woman who has kids already is the ultimate curse for a man. And this is one of the things that's contributing to the death of the American family. Now, once again, as a man, it is your personal right to make the decisions on how you're going to live your life. That's your right. You can do whatever you want. Now, what is happening is we're having a bunch of women who have children who do not have husbands. Now, this is what's really intriguing about this conversation. Many of these men who do not want a wife, who do not want to be a father, will intertwine with a woman, get her pregnant, and then be like, you need to get an abortion, I don't want to be a father, I don't want to be a dad, I don't want to pay child support. And this creates such a disharmony in the sexes of the male sex and the female sex, because a lot of men just simply do not want the responsibility of a family. They just don't. And this is going to create a very interesting future, because we're going to have a lot of men who will never have children. We're going to have a lot of men who will never get married. And we're going to have a lot of men who are going to get old. And it's going to be real interesting how that's going to work out. Because there was a guy on Patrick Bett's show. He was running. He's a black guy. He's a conservative. He's an older guy too. And they asked him what were some of his regrets. And one of his regrets was he didn't have children. This was one of his biggest regrets. So we're going to see a lot of men in that position as we go further and further along. We're going to see a lot of men who are going, like I said, there's going to be a lot of single men who are successful, who've made money, who've done well in life, who don't have children. And this is going to contribute to the death of the American family, because these men, once again, it's your right. You don't want to have kids. You don't want to have family. You don't want to be wed. You don't want to do all that. That is your right. You can live that life. But we have a lot of men who are being influenced before they had experience. Now, for someone to be very young at the age of 18 and to develop a hardcore personality, I'm not getting married, I'm not having any kids, I'm not even gonna have a girlfriend. And you have a lot of young men who have taken that position because they have been schooled, told by the older generation that they don't want to do those things because those things are very harmful. And what I see is a lot of antisocial behavior between men and women. And it's just going to get worse and worse. Now, how does this impact the economy? First of all, it has been statistically proven over and over that married men make more money, that married couples build wealth faster. It's been statistically proven. So once again, we have, let's say, this guy over here doing his thing, we have this woman over here doing her thing, and they're not working together, they're not building anything together, they're just living their lives independently. And I feel that this is one of the reasons that so many are ready to leave America and move to a foreign country, because they have no roots. They have no roots. They have nothing to hold them here. They have no family. They have no close relationships. Honestly, I think a lot of people are lonely. I think a lot of people are very lonely. And to leave the United States and to move to Thailand, or to move to Portugal, or to move to Colombia, to move to Brazil, is very easy for them because they have nothing to hold them back from leaving. They have nothing. I remember as a kid, I used to watch my older neighbors, and my older neighbors would get together and have these dinners and these meetings, and they would hang out. I don't think that really exists in the younger generation anymore. And with these people, they just simply have nothing to keep them here. Nothing. And with this, without the purpose of a man who's to anchor a family, to be a head of a family, what's happening is it's just getting worse and worse, because from an economic standpoint, and this is something I've talked about, and this is something I'll talk about in the new channel. As a man, you should have your money in order and all this other stuff in order before you get married. And then you should bring a woman into your system, and then you should use her income to be for investment purposes or savings purposes. But right now, typically when a couple gets together, everyone is so financially pressed that all the money goes towards the bills, such as paying the mortgage or rent or car payments or credit card payments. All of this money goes to that versus them sitting back and doing the things that they need to do to actually exist and to actually do the things that they need to do to actually be healthy, wealthy, and wise. So with the death of the American family, this is one of the reasons that's killing the economy, because right now, even if you're married and you have good credit and you have money to put down, the average American family cannot buy a house. And this is something I'll talk about in future videos, but everything's changing. The whole game is changing. Everything is changing. And if you're not willing to change up with it, you're just going to get left behind. You're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff that's going to be very hard to deal with from a long-term perspective. This is going to be one of the things that you need to really look at if you want to exist in the new America. And this is why I keep calling it the new America. This is not the America of old. Once again, it's very expensive to live in the new America. Hands down, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not even going to make allowances. It's really expensive to live in the new America. So you're going to need to have adequate income to live in the new America. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are just not doing it. And everyone is looking for that escape. Everyone's looking for a way out. Everyone's looking for a way to go somewhere, just buy a plane, sell everything that they have, get rid of their car, get rid of all their clothes and stuff, to have maybe 2 or 3 suitcases, take those 2 or 3 suitcases, hop on the plane and move to Thailand. And this is what people want to do. They, instead of, and actually sitting back and looking at the practicality of being an American. A lot of people do not want to be the hardcore American, so to speak. There's places in the country where the hardcore American is very much alive and well, but there's a lot of Americans, and this is due to the death of the American family, there is no sense of being a hardcore American. So this is why so many people, because I did the research, about 9 million people leave America every year, and I think the number is going up. And because it's all about individual comfort. It's all about being set up as an individual, being happy and comfortable and doing the things you need to do to set yourself up. So with this, we're going to continue to see the death of the American family. We're going to continue to see the American family erode. We're going to continue to see the effects of the American family. Because when I was living in that building, there was a bunch of single people. And I guarantee you, with the massive level of evictions that were going on in that building, a lot of these people were single and they had no help. They had no additional income, no one to help them out. And when they fell on hard times, they really fell on hard times. And with that eviction on their record, it's going to make it very hard for them to rent another place. So with what we're seeing is a bunch of solo soldiers who are trying to make it in the most expensive place in the world to live. Once again, I'm not going to argue with you. Yes, it's very expensive living in America. It's very expensive to have health care. It's very expensive to buy a house. It's expensive to live in the United States of America. We're not going to get any arguments with me. I'm not going to sit down. My argument is, what should you be doing so you can live well in this expensive place? And that's my argument. All right, so that's all I got for you guys today. I will talk to you in the next one.